cracks within COSATU affiliates are widening. Why do we say this? Well, with SADTU breaking ranks, saying that other public service unions, by accepting government's revised final offer of a 3% wage offer. Now, this is for the country's more than 1.3 million public servants. COSATU's other affiliates have rejected the revised offer. We're joined now by SADTU's head of Secretariat in the office of SADTU, that's Xolani Fakude, coming to talk to us in studio about this. Let's start with that final offer from government, 3%. You're willing to accept it? If not, why not? Because the state of the economy is not so good.
Well, firstly, Xolani, thank you for inviting us. Let me also greet the workers. You know, today it's a very important day, a day for workers, for decent work. So we're greeting them as well as a union. But now, importantly, let us first correct the narrative. Yeah. Because we believe, in our view as SADTU, that perhaps the narrative which is being put out there, particularly by the media, is possibly not accurate. For instance, you speak of a 3% final offer. But then let us also mention that there is also a 1,000 rands non-pensionable, which is then given to the workers, which we have secured. You should also mention that there is also the pay progression of 1.5%. So when you look at the totality of the offer, 3% is the baseline, which is what we call the cost of living adjustment. So it is also important to note that this particular 3% baseline, it comes from somewhere. At first, it was 0%. Then it became 0.9%. Then it became 1.5%. We pushed back until we got it at 3%. Of course, the final offer, when you look at just the baseline on its own, we would have preferred more naturally. We would have. But the fact of the matter here is that we consulted our members. We are a member-driven union. We are a member-centric union. So it is also important to correct the narrative when you say it seems like there are cracks within COSATU unions. No, we do not believe so. Yeah. In fact, we want to even suggest that there is probably a fallacy, because we are not necessarily divided. We just have got different mandates, and that should be accepted. Because COSATU is a living organism, so we've got different mandates. It's not about being divided.
So, how do you respond then to those who say this is quite frankly an insult?
Well, 3%. We do not believe so. If we're to be honest and look at the totality of the offer, we do not believe that it actually is. We have pushed. The fact of the matter is that, for instance, those who are advocating for an industrial action, our members, education workers, are telling us that, but usually when we go this route, it is us as education workers who will be on the streets. It is us who are going to be suffering from possibly no work, no pay. It is us who takes the burden that we then have to see how we finish as people who are working ourselves. But now, the important thing here that we want to explain is that we believe that, in fact, the offer, that is why categorically our members have told us that we should accept the offer. However, we have not signed yet, and the reason for that is because we've got what we call the JMC in COSATU, Joint Management Committee, where we work with other public sector unions. And we have been saying that let us then allow other unions in the public sector to finish their own mandate seeking processes, because on our side, our members are saying we are ready to take the of the offer, not just the 3% baseline that is being mentioned as if it is the only element in this.
You mentioned other public sector workers. What is their attitude towards this offer that you are clearly willing to accept? What is their stance?
Well, I mean, we have seen the stance from other unions, for instance. There is, of course, a lot of unhappiness. However, on our side, as education workers, we strongly believe that this is actually a victory moving forward. Yes, of course, it is not necessarily, look, we would have loved to get more. Generally, when we negotiate wage negotiations, we want to get more because we're also responding to the socio-economic, but particularly the economic difficulties that we are all witnessing. Yeah. So we would have preferred that. But however, the fact that remains for us that under the circumstances, and remember the context, that we also at some point had a collective agreement of 2018, which the Concord ruled in a particular manner about. So we should consider that entire context. But then what we are saying, what is important is that it is not just about the 3% baseline collar. There are other elements that also should equally be mentioned so that then we can accept and understand the totality of the offer that is input.
So talk to us then about this day. I want to link these two deliberately. So you're willing to accept a 3% wage offer?
Amongst others.
Amongst other elements.
Let's emphasize this as well, yes.
1.3% pay progression,
1.5,
including 1.5,
1,000 rands and
the
non-pensionable.
1,000 rands pensionable.
Non-pensionable.
Non-pensionable.
Yeah.
All right. Today is a day for decent work. Absolutely. The world over. How do you view these things where workers are saying we are not getting what we think we're worth, and therefore we, particularly the unions that are aligned to the governing party of the day, the ANC, we feel that we're being insulted. In fact, if anything, we're not getting the benefit of being part of this arrangement or the governing alliance, as it is termed.
Yeah.
So marry those two for us, because there does seem to be a disjuncture there. Or am I reading things incorrectly?
You certainly are reading things incorrectly. Now, firstly, when we talk about the governing alliance, let's call it what it is. The ANC-led tripartite alliance, which is in government. I know that is what you actually are saying. So when we look into the very fact that we've got collective bargaining structures that are still firm. Yes, we are concerned about some of the issues, but the fact that we've got collective bargaining platforms whereby ourselves as workers can actually be able to advance some of our aspirations. For us, it matters. Now I was explaining how the COLA, for instance, which is the cost of living adjustment, got to 3%. I was explaining how it moved from 0%, no budget at all, from 0%. It moved to 0.9%. We pushed back. It moved to 1.9%. We pushed back, or 1.5%. We pushed back until we got to 3%. And we can confidently say that part of the reason that we are allowed to, we had a space to advance towards that direction, it is precisely because of this very governing alliance. We've got opportunities to engage our comrades, we engage our leaders. There are many things that we are not happy about, actually. However, we believe that there is still a lot of necessity for this particular governing alliance. We are saying that the very fact that even other unions are considering their very democratic right to go to the streets, industrial action, it is part of the victories that as workers within the alliance we have managed to gain. Yeah. And we want to protect those ones quite jealous. That is why we are saying even the unions that are saying that they are ready for industrial action in this particular context, it is their autonomy, it is their independence, it is their democratic right, which is protected, by the way, by the very constitution, which is also linked to the governing alliance. So the day today, the day for decent work, yes, we are concerned. The impact that we are all feeling in terms of the economic, let's call it what it is, an economic downturn. It does not only affect public servants, it affects others. In the private sector, they are even losing, we are bleeding jobs. In the public sector, as we speak right now, we are even seeing what we call austerity measures through the back door, whereby we've got a growing population, where we've got migration, urbanization trends as well, but then you are not responding the same in terms of public services. We've got a system whereby we've got many, for instance, unemployed nurses there. We've got many newly qualified unemployed teachers, even teaching these sophisticated subjects, the mechanical and so forth. So what we are saying, in essence, is that our governance, the alliance that we're in, we believe that it is working for us, it's assisting. That is why actually we are where we are. However, we are also emphasizing the fact that ideally we would have loved to get more and we'll continue to advocate for more.
Very quickly, two issues I want to tackle with you. First one, so what is Sadtu's attitude then to what happened at the COSATU Congress, which you were a part of, when a speaker of the ANC, a leader of the ANC, was prevented from speaking up until he actually abandoned and left? Are you saying that you are against that stance? You
don't have to use the word against. Let us rather say that we've got a different view.
Yes.
Not necessarily against. We've got a different view as Sadtu. And in our view is that was a COSATU Congress. It was a COSATU Congress. This is a COSATU that is still in alliance with the ANC and the SCCP. We even called on our fellow comrades from the other unions to say that maybe it is important that we engage on this matter deliberately, at length, about how we relate ourselves as organized labor with our ANC, by the way, which most of us are, by the way, members of in our own right.
In short, Mantashe should have spoken. Is that what you're saying?
In short, there was nothing wrong with affording the ANC an opportunity to tell us as to how they are going to help us to resolve some of the challenges that we are facing. There was nothing wrong with providing the ANC a platform. So we're not necessarily saying that this one was wrong, this one was right. It is also their democratic right, those who demonstrated and inhibited Comrade Mantashe. It was also their right to do that.
Okay.
As a union, we are saying there was nothing wrong with providing them a platform.
All right. Very quickly, let's come back to Sadtu issues.
Yeah.
There's a major problem within your union. Posts are being advertised and posts are being paid for by people. There is the so-called jobs, jobs or money for jobs scandal. Okay? People pay in order to be placed in a particular school. That's a Sadtu problem, and it appears to be quite rife in KwaZulu-Natal. What are you doing about it?
Well, firstly, we definitely need to correct that narrative. We do not believe that it is a Sadtu problem. Absolutely not. In fact, Sadtu has got just about 160,000 members. Now, if some amongst us are behaving in a way that brings disrepute into the profession, never mind even Sadtu on its own, but into the profession on its own, we are saying that then there should be consequences for that. It is not a Sadtu problem. These are individuals that could be associated with the union, but we refuse to accept that it is a Sadtu problem. And we are saying that narrative is incorrect and needs to be corrected, in fact. So what we are saying is that as a union, we just came back from our National General Council, which is our midterm review. We just got back, it just ended yesterday. We even spoke very, very firmly in our declaration. I'm sure by now it is in the media. We spoke very strongly. And we even said we encourage our members that those who know others who are doing something of this nature should feel free to go to approach law enforcement agencies, actually, because it's just corruption, to be frank. They should feel free to even come to us as a union, so that also we can assist to isolate those individuals that bring disrepute towards the profession. But let us correct it, and we're very emphatic about this one. It is not necessarily a Sadtu problem. It's individuals within the union, and we're taking a firm stance against that.
Xolani, Fakude, let's leave it there. Thank you very much for your time.